Strength isn't built in comfort. It's built in the moments when your mind whispers, "I can't," and your soul answers, "Watch me." I don't know what battle you're facing right now, but I do know this. Every dream you carry will eventually demand something difficult from you. And in those moments, it's not talent that saves you. It's not luck. It's not even opportunity. It's the courage to train your mind to do the hard, uncomfortable, unglamorous things long before anyone is watching. Because your destiny isn't shaped by the big decisions you make once in a while. It's shaped by the small, difficult choices you make every single day. So today, let me share with you 7 lessons that changed my life. 7 truths that taught me how to force my brain to grow, adapt, and rise above anything. We often think strength is something you are born with, like a gift handed down by fate. But the truth is, real strength is not something you stumble upon. It is something you create. It is built day by day, moment by moment, in the quiet corners of your life where no one is watching. True strength comes from choosing, over and over again, to face the things you fear, to move toward the uncomfortable, and to do what your mind resists the most. Our minds are not fixed. They are not rigid. They are like muscles, waiting for us to test them, to stretch them, to challenge them, and to push them beyond the limits we thought were impossible. But the stretching part is never easy. Growth rarely feels comfortable. Growth is designed to hurt because it is meant to transform. When I first moved to America, I was 16 years old. I was small, quiet, and completely invisible in a sea of people who seemed to have it all together. Everything felt foreign. The language, the culture, even the way people walk through the world with ease and confidence. I was terrified of speaking up, terrified of being judged, terrified of failing, and for a while I let that fear define me. I stayed in my comfort zone. I stayed silent. I stayed small. And in that silence I realized something. Avoiding discomfort was also avoiding growth. Staying safe was also staying stuck. The mind, when left untested, becomes lazy. It begins to believe its own limits, and those limits are often lies. I had to make a decision. I had to decide that I would not allow my fears or my insecurities to control my life. I had to tell myself over and over again that discomfort was not my enemy. It was my teacher. Every small step outside my comfort zone became a lesson in strength. I started by forcing myself to speak in class, to share my thoughts, even when my voice trembled. I started by joining activities I had never tried, auditioning for roles I was terrified I couldn't pull off, and meeting people who intimidated me. Every moment of discomfort taught me something new, that I was capable of more than I had imagined, that fear was not a wall, but a door waiting to be opened, that the mind is far stronger than it wants us to believe. There is something almost sacred about this process. Each time you force yourself to do what you don't want to do, each time you choose courage over ease, your brain grows a little stronger. It starts to understand that you are the one in charge, not your doubts, not your insecurities, not the stories you've been telling yourself for years. You learn that the mind can adapt, can stretch, and can carry the weight of challenges you once thought impossible. You also begin to realize that strength is not loud. It doesn't announce itself in grand gestures or victories. Strength is quiet. It is the inner voice that tells you to keep going when your body is tired, when your emotions are screaming, when every part of you wants to give up. That quiet voice grows louder each time you choose to act in the face of fear. This is why doing hard things matters. It is not about proving anything to the world. It is about proving to yourself that you are capable, that you are resilient, that you are alive in a way you could never be if you stayed comfortable. Every challenge you face, every risk you take, every situation that tests your patience, your courage, your willpower, it is like lifting a weight for your mind. At first it feels impossible. You might stumble, you might fail, but failure is part of the exercise. It is the feedback your mind needs to grow. It teaches you where your limits are, only so you can break through them. And here is the most beautiful part. When you train your mind in this way, life begins to feel different. The things that once terrified you begin to shrink in your perception. Opportunities start to appear where once you only saw obstacles. You begin to realize that you do not need to wait for perfect circumstances or for courage to magically appear. Courage appears when you act despite fear. Strength appears when you choose the hard path over and over again. Discomfort becomes a friend, a signal that you are moving in the right direction, a sign that you are alive and growing. So remember this truth: your mind is a muscle and it needs to be trained. It needs to be stretched. It needs to be challenged with the hard things, the uncomfortable things, the moments that make you question yourself. Do not shy away from them. Do not wish them away. Embrace them. Step into them. And with every single choice to move forward, even when it hurts, even when it scares you, you are sculpting a mind that is strong, resilient, and unstoppable. That is the gift of discomfort. That is the path to real power. That is how you become the person you are always meant to be. We often wait for motivation to appear, as if it's a guest who will knock on our door and give us permission to move forward. We think, when I feel ready, I will start. When I am inspired, I will take action. But the truth is that motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like the wind. One day it lifts you high, and the next day it disappears. Hours without warning. And if we depend on motivation alone, we will always be at the mercy of our moods, our feelings, and the circumstances around us. Real change doesn't happen on the days you feel like it. Real change happens on the days you don't. That is why discipline is the true architect of success. Discipline is louder than motivation because it shows up whether you feel like it or not. Discipline is the quiet, steady hand that guides you past the voices of doubt and fear. It is the commitment you make to yourself, repeated every day, even when your emotions are exhausted. Motivation will inspire you for a moment, but discipline builds a lifetime. It is the difference between someone who dreams and someone who achieves. I remember a time when my life was full of uncertainty. Opportunities seemed small, and the path ahead looked intimidating. Some days I felt like hiding, like waiting for the perfect moment to arrive. But I had learned early that perfect moments rarely exist. Life doesn't wait for us to be ready. Life moves forward, whether we are prepared or not. So I made a promise to myself. I would show up every single day, even when I didn't feel like it. I would do the work, practice the craft, face the challenges, and trust that consistency would create results far beyond what motivation alone could deliver. Discipline is the muscle that turns intention into action. It is the force that bridges the gap between where you are and where you want to be. When you create habits, when you commit to small routines, your brain begins to understand a new language. It learns that effort is non-negotiable. It learns that your words and your actions must align. And over time, the repetitive practice of discipline transforms who you are. What once felt like a struggle becomes natural. What once felt impossible becomes part of your identity. Consider this. The people you admire most are rarely the ones who waited for inspiration to strike. They are the ones who showed up every single day, regardless of how they felt. They moved forward in silence, behind the scenes, doing the hard work that no one noticed. That is the real power of discipline. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't require recognition. Its reward is internal. Its reward is the transformation of your mind, your habits, and your life. Discipline also teaches you resilience. Life is unpredictable. You will face setbacks. You will face rejection. You will have days when your energy is low, when everything seems heavy. On those days, discipline is your anchor. It reminds you that the work matters more than your feelings. It reminds you that consistency is the force that carries you past obstacles. Motivation is unreliable, but discipline is unwavering. It doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't listen to your doubts. It simply guides you forward, one step at a time, until you cross the finish line you once thought was unreachable. And here is the deeper truth. Discipline is N, about punishment. It is not about self-flagellation or rigidity. Discipline is an act of love for yourself. It is saying, I am worth the effort. I am capable of growth. I will honor my potential, even when it is inconvenient, even when it is hard, even when it feels uncomfortable. Every time you choose discipline over ease, you strengthen your mind, your body, and your spirit. You are teaching yourself that you are stronger than your excuses, smarter than your fears, and braver than your doubts. So start today. Start with something small. Commit to one routine, one task, one habit, and do it consistently no matter what. Watch as your brain begins to rewrite its own narrative. Watch as motivation becomes a bonus, not a necessity. Watch as your life begins to bend toward the outcomes you desire, not because you waited for inspiration, but because you built a foundation that cannot be shaken. Discipline is louder than motivation. Discipline is the quiet force behind every success. Discipline is the bridge between your dreams and your reality. And when you commit to it, when you live it, when you embody it every single day, you discover a strength within yourself that nothing in the world can take away. Fear is a quiet thief. It doesn't always shout. It doesn't always show its face. Often it sneaks into the corners of your mind, planting doubt, hesitation, and what-ifs like seeds that grow into walls. Fear is why we hesitate, why we stay small, why we convince ourselves that waiting is safer than trying. It whispers, you are not ready. You might fail. You might be embarrassed. And if we let it, fear can hold us hostage for a lifetime, trapping us in routines, habits, and lives that feel safe but are far from extraordinary. I have faced fear many times in my life. When I first walked onto a film set as a teenager, I could barely breathe. My hands shook so violently that I had to hide them behind my back, and my mind raced with thoughts of failure. I wondered if I belonged, if I was good enough, if anyone would even notice me. That fear could have stopped me. It could have made me retreat, made me disappear, made me believe that I wasn't capable of what I dreamed of. But something inside me whispered a simple truth. Fear is not a signal to stop. Fear is a signal to move forward. Fear is a compass pointing you toward the very place you need to grow. The first time I truly embraced fear, I realized something magical. When you do the thing that scares you, fear begins to shrink. It loses its power because it cannot survive exposure. Every time you confront it, you teach your brain a lesson. That the world is not as threatening as it seems, that you are far stronger than you believe, that courage is not the absence of fear, but the choice to act despite it. Fear only has meaning if you let it. Step into it, and it transforms into freedom. Step into it, and it becomes strength. Step into it, and it becomes clarity. Fear dissolves in repetitio. The first time is always the hardest. The second time is slightly easier. And by the time you face it a third or fourth time, your mind begins to rewire itself. It begins to understand that discomfort is not danger. It begins to recognize that growth requires risk. It begins to see that every step into fear is a step into the life you were meant to live. The challenges that once felt insurmountable suddenly feel like invitations. Opportunities appear where once there were only obstacles. You begin to trust yourself, and that trust changes everything. Fear also teaches you humility. It reminds you that you are human, that vulnerability is part of life, and that asking for help or taking small steps does not diminish your courage, it enhances it. Courage is not loud. Courage is quiet, steady, and persistent. It is the decision to show up even when your heart is pounding, even when your mind is screaming to turn back, even when the odds seem impossible. Every time you confront fear, you practice courage. And courage, once cultivated, becomes a force that carries you far beyond what you once imagined possible. There is also a spiritual truth in facing fear. Fear often points toward your purpose. The things you avoid, the risks you hesitate to take, the conversations you dread, these are often the very places where your greatest growth, your deepest fulfillment, and your highest contribution are waiting. Fear is not a wall, it is a doorway. The question is whether you will step through it. The question is whether you will trust yourself enough to move forward, even when your mind screams no. When we choose to act despite fear, we also teach others around us to do the same. Courage is contagious. Every time you face what scares you, you give someone else permission to face their own fears. Every step you take into discomfort lights a spark in someone else's life, showing them that it is possible to rise above doubt, to stand tall in uncertainty, and to transform fear into action. So today, I want you to remember this. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is a teacher, a guide, a compass pointing toward your growth. Do the thing that scares you, the thing you've been avoiding, the thing your mind has been telling you is too risky. Do it not because the world will reward you, but because your soul will. Do it because your life is meant to be bigger than your comfort zone. Do it because courage, once practiced, will become your constant companion. And when you take that step, you will discover a simple truth. The fear never disappears entirely, but it loses its control. You begin to see that the world is not as scary as your mind once imagined, that you are capable of far more than you believed, and that every act of bravery is a seed for a life of purpose, power, and fulfillment. Fear dissolves in action. Step forward and watch it vanish. We all carry stories in our minds. Stories about who we are, what we deserve, and what we are capable of. They are often subtle, almost invisible, but they shape everything we do. I'm not ready. I don't have time. I might fail. This isn't for me. These are the whispers of excuses disguised as truths, and if we let them, they control our lives. They convince us to wait, to delay, to shrink. They keep us trapped in familiar comfort zones, pretending that safety is more valuable than growth. But the moment you realize that excuses are just stories you have been telling yourself, you gain freedom. The moment you see them as narratives, not facts, you realize you hold the pen. You can rewrite the story. I have spent much of my life rewriting my own narratives. There were times when I walked into rooms and felt invisible. Times when people told me that I didn't belong, that I was too different, too young, too inexperienced. I could have let those words define me. I could have let them become a story of limitation, a story of what I could not do. But I made a choice. I would not live by the story others wrote for me. I would tell my own story. I would rewrite the narrative page by page, decision by decision, act by act. Excuses are comfortable. They are like cushions you sink into so you don't have to face the discomfort of growth. They tell you, later, not now, maybe next time. But life doesn't wait for maybe. Life doesn't reward hesitation or perfection. Life rewards action, commitment, and courage. And the most important act of courage is the act of rewriting your own mind, of choosing to believe in yourself even when the old story says you cannot. Rewriting your story begins with awareness. It begins with listening to the excuses that have become habitual. Pay attention to them. Write them down. Speak them aloud. And then ask yourself a simple question. Is this true, or is it just a story I have been telling myself? When you can separate fact from fiction, you regain control. You see that most of the limits you feel exist only in your mind. They are not walls, they are illusions. And illusions can be dissolved by action. Once you recognize the story for what it is, you must replace it with a new one. Replace "I'm not ready" with "I will learn as I go." Replace "I don't have time" with "I will prioritize what matters." Replace "I might fail" with "I will try anyway." Replace "this isn't for me" with "why not me." These are not cliches, they are tools of transformation. They are statements of ownership, of courage, and of possibility. Every time you speak these new stories to yourself, you reshape your mind. You retrain your brain to see opportunity instead of obstacle, to see potential instead of limitation, to see action instead of avoidance. Rewriting your story is not an instant process. It requires persistence. You will find the old narratives creeping back, especially in moments of stress, doubt, or fear. That is normal. That is life. What matters is that you keep choosing the new story over and over again. With each repetition, your mind becomes stronger, your confidence grows, and the excuses lose their power. You begin to realize that the life you have been waiting for is not a reward, it is a creation, and you are the author. There is also a spiritual dimension to this. When you take responsibility for your story, you align yourself with purpose, you stop blaming circumstances, other people, or fate. You step into the understanding that you are here for a reason, and that reason requires courage, clarity, and conviction. Every rewritten story is a step closer to the person you were meant to be, the life you were meant to live, and the impact you were meant to make. So today, I want you to examine the stories you are telling yourself. Listen to the excuses, name them, and then rewrite them. Don't just speak the new story, live it. Let it guide your actions, your choices, and your attitude. Choose ownership over avoidance, courage over comfort, action over hesitation. Because the moment you stop believing the excuses, the moment you rewrite your story, you reclaim your life, you reclaim your power, you step into the extraordinary. Remember this truth: excuses are stories, and stories can be rewritten. You are the author of your own life. The pen is in your hands. Every choice you make, every step you take, is a word on the page. Write a story that inspires you, challenges you, and lifts you higher than you ever thought possible. Do not wait for permission. Do not wait for certainty. Start now. Rewrite the story, and watch your world transform. We often wait for big moments to define us. We wait for the perfect opportunity, the flawless timing, the life-changing breakthrough that will suddenly prove our worth. But life doesn't work that way. Success doesn't arrive as a single grand gesture. It is built quietly, steadily, one small victory at a time. Every choice you make, every step you take, every seemingly insignificant action compounds into momentum that carries you forward in ways you cannot yet see. Small victories are the secret engines of transformation, and once you understand their power, nothing can stop you. I have learned this lesson repeatedly in my own life. When I first started my journey, every day felt like a mountain. The challenges seemed enormous, the goals felt distant, and the world felt too big. It was easy to feel overwhelmed, to believe that my actions were too small to matter. But over time, I realized that waiting for the perfect moment was a trap. Waiting meant giving up control. Waiting meant surrendering to fear. Instead, I began to focus on small, deliberate victories. Finishing a script, making a phone call I had been avoiding, practicing a single scene, learning one new skill. Each of these small actions, repeated consistently, began to create a rhythm. And that rhythm became unstoppable momentum. Momentum is magical because it changes your mind before it changes your circumstances. When you honor small victories, your brain starts to believe in possibility. It starts to recognize patterns of success. Every completed task, every act of courage, every disciplined choice sends a signal. You can do this, you are capable, keep going. And once your mind believes, your actions become easier, your energy increases, and opportunities begin to appear that you could not have imagined before. Momentum is not luck. It is math. Small victories add up, day by day, action by action. Life begins to bend toward your efforts. The danger lies in underestimating small wins. We often look at our lives and see how far we have to go, and the distance overwhelms us. But the truth is, you don't need to conquer everything at once. You only need to win the next 10 minutes. You only need to make the next decision that honors your goals. Drink water instead of scrolling your phone. Speak kindly to yourself instead of giving in to doubt. Take one step instead of retreating. These moments, repeated consistently, create momentum that becomes unstoppable over time. There is also a spiritual rhythm to this process. Life, like the universe, responds to motion. Energy follows action. When you choose to act, even in small ways, you align yourself with the flow of purpose. You create signals that your soul recognizes, that you are committed, that you are willing, that you are ready to grow. Small victories are not insignificant. They are the gentle nudges of faith manifesting in your life. the proof that progress is possible even when the mountain ahead feels too steep. I have also seen how small victories transform courage. Each small success, no matter how minor it seems, teaches you that you are capable of more than you thought. It teaches you to trust yourself, to honor your commitments, and to keep moving when the path is unclear. Courage is not born in grand leaps. It is cultivated in repeated, tiny acts of bravery. The courage to speak up, to try again, to practice, to show up. These small victories stack upon each other until they create a force that cannot be ignored. Small victories also teach gratitude. They remind you that growth is not a single event, it is a journey. They allow you to celebrate progress even when the destination feels far away. By appreciating the small steps, you keep your spirit motivated and your mind focused. You begin to see that life is less about the moments you wait for and more about the moments you create. Every page written, every effort made, every fear confronted becomes a triumph that propels you forward. So today, I want you to start small. Do not wait for the perfect opportunity to change your life. Choose the next action. Honor the next victory. Celebrate the smallest steps because they are the foundation for the extraordinary life you are building. With each small act, you are creating momentum that cannot be stopped. With each choice, you are teaching your mind that growth is possible. With each victory, you are rewriting the story of who you are. Remember this: the journey to greatness is not about giant leaps. It is about the accumulation of small, deliberate victories. They build the rhythm of your life, the strength of your mind, and the courage of your heart. Keep winning the next moment, and soon you will find that momentum has transformed your life in ways you never imagined. We are shaped by the company we keep. It's a simple truth, yet one we often overlook. The people around us are not just companions. They are silent architects of our minds, sculptors of our thoughts, and mirrors reflecting back the possibilities we either embrace or ignore. If you surround yourself with those who settle for less, who complain more than they create, who focus on obstacles rather than solutions, your mind will quietly begin to shrink. You may not notice it at first, but slowly, the limits of their thinking become the limits of your own. And if you are serious about growth, about becoming the person you are meant to be, this is something you cannot afford. I have learned the power of this lesson many times in my own journey. When I first stepped into the world of entertainment, there were people who told me what I couldn't do, who doubted my ability, who whispered that my dreams were too big for someone like me. I could have let their voices define me. I could have surrounded myself with those who were comfortable in mediocrity, who would have confirmed my fears and cautioned me against reaching higher. But instead, I chose differently. I chose to seek out people who inspired me, who challenged me, who refused to settle for anything less than excellence. And in doing so, I found something extraordinary. The people you allow into your inner circle have the power to stretch your mind, expand your vision, and push you toward your highest potential. Surrounding your mind with the right people is not about flattery or comfort. It is about challenge. It is about honesty. It is about courage. These are the people who tell you the truth even when it hurts. They see your potential before you see it yourself, and they push you to step into it. They celebrate your victories, yes, but they also call you out when you are coasting, when fear or doubt threatens to limit your progress. And the magic is that when you consistently spend time with minds that are bigger, braver, and wiser than your own, your mind begins to expand naturally. Their courage rubs off on you. Their discipline inspires you. Their vision awakens your own. There is a spiritual element to this as well. Life, in its subtle wisdom, will place people in your orbit who reflect back the qualities you are ready to embrace. If you are willing to grow, to stretch, to evolve, you will meet mentors, guides, and companions who remind you of the person you are capable of becoming. If you resist growth, life will surround you with mirrors of stagnation, repeating old patterns until you learn the lesson. The choice is yours. You can remain in comfort, or you can see the company that challenges you to rise. I have also found that it is not enough to simply be in the presence of inspiring people. You must actively engage with them. You must learn from their habits, their discipline, their mindset. Listen deeply, observe carefully, and allow their energy to influence your own. But equally, you must contribute back. Growth is not a one-way street. Surrounding your mind with greatness requires that you bring your own courage, curiosity, and commitment. You elevate others as they elevate you. It becomes a dance of shared growth, a network of minds that feed each other, strengthen each other, and create something larger than any one person could achieve alone. And yet, this is not always easy. Sometimes the people who stretch you will push you beyond your comfort, confront your excuses, and challenge the stories you tell yourself. That can feel uncomfortable, even painful. But growth never comes without discomfort. The lessons they teach are not always pleasant, but they are necessary. Every conversation, every collaboration, every honest reflection pushes you a little further, lifts you a little higher, and transforms you into someone who is capable of far more than you imagined. So today, I want you to examine your inner circle. Look at the people you spend the most time with. Do they inspire growth, or do they reinforce limits? Do they challenge you, or do they keep you small? Choose courage over comfort. Choose growth over ease. Seek those who stretch your mind, expand your vision, and elevate your potential. And in doing so, you will find that your life begins to change in profound ways. Remember this: your environment is a silent teacher, and the people you surround yourself with are powerful architects of your destiny. Choose them wisely. Seek out those who reflect your highest self, challenge your thinking, and push you toward excellence. When you do, your mind will expand, your spirit will rise, and the world you once thought impossible will suddenly feel within reach. The company you keep is not just a reflection of who you are, it is a doorway to who you can become. Life will test you. It will place obstacles in your path, challenges that seem too heavy to bear, and moments that feel unfair. It will push you to your limits, to a place where your strength falters and your mind questions everything. And in those moments, it is easy to feel alone, to feel like the world is against you, to wonder why life is so hard. But there is a deeper truth: nothing in life is wasted, and nothing hard is meaningless. Faith transforms difficulty into purpose, struggle into strength, and challenge into opportunity. When you believe, even when you cannot see, invisible, and when fear whispered that I had reached my limit. In those moments, it would have been easy to give up, to blame circumstances, or to surrender to doubt. But faith reminded me that there was a reason for everything. Faith taught me to see beyond the immediate pain, to trust the process, and to believe in the unseen support that surrounds us. It taught me that even the hardest things carry hidden blessings, and that perseverance is never wasted when guided by purpose. Faith is not passive. It is not simply wishing that things will get better. Faith is active. It is the courage to keep moving forward when the road is rough. It is the choice to show up, even when the outcome is uncertain. It is the strength to do what is right, even when the world does not reward you. Faith transforms the way you experience life. It turns setbacks into setups, failures into feedback, and obstacles into stepping stones. What once felt unbearable begins to feel meaningful. What once seemed like punishment becomes preparation. What once was heavy becomes holy. There is a spiritual rhythm to this transformation. Life often presents challenges to align us with our higher purpose. The difficulties are not punishments, they are invitations. They are opportunities to grow, to rise, and to discover the depth of our resilience. When you trust that there is a plan greater than your current understanding, your mind begins to relax. Fear loses its grip, anxiety diminishes, and in that space, clarity emerges. Faith does not remove the hard work, but it changes the way you experience it. Every struggle becomes a sacred step on the path to your destiny. I remember times when I faced rejection and criticism that could have broken my spirit. And yet, by holding on to faith, I learned to see the lessons hidden within those moments. I learned that every challenge was refining me, preparing me, and teaching me something essential about patience, perseverance, and self-belief. Faith allowed me to rise above fear and doubt, to keep showing up, and to trust that the universe was aligning in ways I could not yet comprehend. Every hardship became a chance to strengthen my character, to deepen my gratitude, and to step closer to the life I was meant to lead. Faith also teaches patience and humility. It reminds us that we are part of something greater than ourselves. It reminds us that not every answer is immediate, and not every path is straight. Life requires timing, and the universe often orchestrates events with precision beyond our comprehension. Trusting in that timing, even when it feels slow or uncertain, is an act of courage and surrender. It is the acknowledgement that even when we cannot see the full picture, the process is working in our favor. So, when life feels impossibly hard, remember this: faith can turn even the heaviest burdens into opportunities for growth. Faith allows your mind to see beyond fear, your heart to embrace patience, and your soul to recognize purpose in every struggle. When you combine faith with action, persistence, and courage, what once felt impossible transforms into a journey of strength, meaning, and fulfillment. And here is the ultimate truth. Every challenge you face is not meant to stop you. It is meant to prepare you. Every difficulty is not meant to punish you. It is meant to purify you. Every hard thing, when met with faith, becomes holy. So step forward with courage. Face the struggle with grace. Trust in the process, even when it is unseen, and know that the universe is guiding you toward the life you are meant to live. Faith turns hard things into holy things. It transforms fear into strength, doubt into clarity, and struggle into purpose. Hold on to it, live it, and let it guide every choice you make. Remember this truth: life will always challenge you. It will always test your mind, your heart, and your spirit. But the battles you face are not punishments. They are preparation. Every fear you confront, every hard choice you make, every small victory you claim, and every step you take in faith is shaping the person you are becoming. You do not need permission to rise. You do not need approval to shine. Your courage, your discipline, your persistence, and your faith are enough. The world will try to define your limits, but your mind, your heart, and your spirit are limitless when you choose to act despite fear, to rewrite your story, and to surround yourself with growth. So today, take one brave step. Do the hard thing. Speak the truth you've been avoiding. Show up for your dreams, even when the path is unclear. Trust that every challenge is guiding you, every struggle is strengthening you, and every act of faith is opening doors to a future far greater than you can imagine. Your life is not a rehearsal. Your story is not someone else's to write. Step forward with courage, with discipline, with love, and with unwavering faith. The world is waiting for the light only you can bring. Do not just dream, rise, act, transform, and let your faith turn every hard thing you face into a holy, unstoppable step toward your destiny.